Is this the meme song? Is this the meme song? Disrespect your surroundings! Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerry Bees. Now, when I was in high school, there were tons of bands, rock bands, hard rock bands, metalcore bands, whatever you want to say, that I just wasn't listening to. As a rock and roll guy, you know, I started out listening to the classic rock, and then it turned into like indie rock. And if it was like rock bands I was listening to in high school, I don't really think you can count Vampire Weekend. They're very indie, but like Queens of the Stone Age, Parquet Courts, that kind of thing. But all of my other friends were listening to Pierce the Veil, Five Finger Death Punch, and just like all these like harder, more like contemporary bands that I should have been listening to relate to my peers. But I just didn't. I just, all that shit skipped me for the longest time, and I never got into it. And one of those bands was Bring Me the Horizon, which I reacted to Sempiternal earlier this year. So if you want to go check that out, that album is up. And so it's gotten me kind of hungry for other albums that were big when I was in high school, or, you know, people I knew listened to these albums, and I've been itching to get back into that kind of music to see what I was missing. And we're going to continue that today with a very seminal album, I believe, with A Day to Remember's Homesick. I believe this is their sophomore effort. No, it is not. It is their fourth album. I believe it was their second under Victory Records, their label. If you know anything about Victory, they seem to be up to some shady shit, allegedly. Victory, please don't come out after me. I've just heard bad things about you. But it seems as though this album is quite celebrated. The album art is, like, incredibly iconic. You know, like, the reputation for this album really precedes it. I think I've seen so many people post on their stories a song, any given song from this album. So I'm excited to get into it. I don't really know what to expect. I know it's like metalcore pop punk, right? That's about where my knowledge begins and starts. So let me know what I'm missing as we go through the album, because I'm going in pretty blind here. And as well, let me know your thoughts on my thoughts on any of my criticisms or anything else as we continue. If there's any other bands or albums from this generation of music, from this scene, please do let me know down in the comments. And if you ever want to catch us live, make sure you click one of the links down in the description, follow my post tab, or join my Patreon for free, where you can see when I'm going live and what I'm reacting to. But if you want to see the reactions well before they come out on YouTube, you can become a member for just $1 and get full unrequited access to said reactions. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a steal. A bargain at double the price, some would say. Not a big A Day to Remember fan, but I do love this album. So that screams pretty good to me. Maybe not a fan of their work in general, but this album just seems to set itself apart from the rest of the crowd. And it's a pretty short album, 40 minutes, 36 seconds, 12 tracks. So it seems like a real standard of standards, I suppose. I may have to fact check myself on that Victory Records thing. I thought I read that on the Wikipedia. This did a quick little, okay, cool. That's all I did, I swear. I just did a little. So even though this came out in 2009, like I said, I started high school in 2012. And a lot of kids I knew were like already listening to this. But I suppose this album just has like a ton of staying power. And looking at some of these songs, man, like The Downfall of Us All has 250 million plays, 130 million. This is not shit to shake your head at. We'll see how much replay value this shit has for me. Yeah, I know. I'm unk status. I'm old. The receding hairline. We should just get into this, folks. We should just get into this. We should have a great time. I'm ready to have a good time. Hopefully you're ready to have a good time. This is Homesick by A Day to Remember, 2009. First track, The Downfall of Us All. Let's go!
I could never solve
this is gonna be one of the easiest air horns in channel history. I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you. The song makes me I gotta blow my nose. Kicked the snot out of my brain. Dude, this was really good. I didn't expect it to be so pop punky, and it was very pop punky in a couple different ways here. You know, I had heard metalcore and pop punk, but it was like straight up. I don't know if it's a perfect marriage between both, but whatever energy they're using between those hard, low-toned guitars, with the pop punk chord progressions and the vocal delivery, just gives this energy that is very infectious. Was not expecting it to be so pop punky in the delivery, and I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't really listen to this stuff back in high school, because look, you know, this channel isn't really about like, you know, like, oh, that's bad, this is bad, more so what I like and what I don't like. I will tell you, for the longest time, and it's still pretty true, Blink-182 is a band that's on like the top of my shit list. Just for the longest time, I could not get into that. Where are you? You know, just like the whiny delivery. Now, without thinking of specific examples, I have become a little bit more accustomed to that vocal delivery, you know, that like signature pop punk vocal style in some ways more than others. You know, without thinking of anything in particular, I think maybe it's just for Blink-182's sake. I just have always just not liked them for so long that I'm just like, nah, I just don't care. The Matt Skiba stuff is fine. I do like Matt Skiba, but like the Tom DeLonge, Mark Hoppus, you know, Travis Barker original lineup stuff can really miss me. But I don't know. I think it works so well for me because it's that delivery with these very hard guitar breakdowns. And it really threw me off is where the composition was taking us, because like we get these like claps here towards the end that I wasn't expecting. And it just really thrown me for a loop. So like I said, I'm not very familiar with shit that sounds like this. And this is so I think maybe it's becoming accustomed to something that's just very new for you. So this is very new for me. And I know it's, you know, goddamn, going on 16 years old at this point. Hopefully that doesn't make anybody feel old there. But for me, you know, if I haven't heard it, it's new to me. It is kind of giving like a breath of fresh air. So pop punk in some of the chord progressions, in the vocal delivery, and of course, this town. You know, you can find tons of compilations about how pop punk just talks about this town. It might as well be hell. So, you know, this whole song is about just, you know, like, we got to get out of this town. This town sucks. There's a bunch of fucking normies everywhere. I'm pretty sure there's a little bit more in the lyrics that I wasn't catching up on, but it was really just sonically, I was just so into it. Really, really, really did a lot for me there. So I'm very excited to continue with this. But very excited to move on. This album took off like a rocket. So here it is, My Life for Hire. Breakdown moment? Watch your back, yell at yourself. This is a battleground. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I wonder, and if you're a longtime A Day to Remember fan, please let me know. But like, was there a lot of like criticism of this band where it's like it's too melodic for the metalheads, and it's way too hard for the pop punkers? Because I can see how that could be a problem for some people, but for me, hearing this with new ears, seeing it through new eyes, I'm really interested in this blend that they're doing, because and this, like, there was a little bit more throughout the first song where it was blending those two styles pretty much at every step of the way, whereas in this one it's like, okay, this is the pop punk section, and then this breakdown was just crazy. Is it only one vocalist? So is there one vocalist doing the more melodic pop punk approach? And then maybe it's like the, rhythm guitarist who's, using that growly, screamy, yelly voice down here for the more metalcore sections of it. And I just started going back to the gym, and I feel good. I'm achy right now because I just kicked my ass yesterday. And I was kind of listening to some of my older, gym playlist stuff. But I'm already like thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm going to gain 29 pounds of muscle just listening to this album. You got to get Homesick by A Day to Remember and creatine. That's it. That's what you need to gain muscle, apparently. Just this high energy is keeping me engaged quite well. Here, maybe we'll see if it becomes kind of old as the album progresses for me. But I'm really kind of digging it. It just sucks because like the sonically, this is just so new to me that I think I'm not gonna catch as many of the lyrics. I know I didn't really in this one, so I pardon me. But if there's anything along the way that I'm not catching up on, please do let me know down in the comments. Metalheads talk shit about anything that has clean vocals in it, to be honest. Well, the metalheads, it's weird. Metalheads are both the nicest people you'll ever meet and some of the most elitist like music fans out there. It's pretty wild. So yeah, I'm digging this so far. I'm really digging this so far. So moving on. I'm made of wax. I'm made of wax, Larry. What are you made out of? Okay, is this one of these like Midwest emo songs where the title is like getting high and then walking to 7-Eleven only to find that there's no Takis, and the song's about like, your parents getting a divorce, and there's like a sample from like some bespoke indie movie or like a sound clip that was recorded 3 rooms away of your friend recollecting about the time where their pet turtle died and their parents lied to them about it. Breakdown. Yes. Everybody's out to get me. Okay. This part just blew me away. Because like they're coming back, it's the reprise, and they're just starting out with the guitar and the snare. You'd think that they'd keep that going for a couple lines, then bring it all back, but they bring it back immediately, and they're keeping me on my toes. It's very dynamic. They're very dynamic in their composition. Where I mean, I saw the breakdown coming from a mile away, and I think that's something that we've already seen in the first few tracks now, where it is kind of obvious where they're gonna break down, and I'm not gonna knock it for that. I think that's just the music itself. That's the genre. That's like the metalcore thing. That's like the metal thing, at like a certain point. And obviously it's a little bit easier for me just, reading like Spotify lyrics, where if you see the music note, I can kind of tell that the breakdown's coming. But outside of that, I'm really getting the sense that these songs are kind of meticulous to a degree. It's not the most complicated thing in the world, but it's not the most straightforward thing either, which I think people can look at maybe even the pop punk side of things and look at like pop punk. There's just not enough going on in my head to really enjoy that. Where I think introducing the metalcore sound and those harder guitars and, they're not so much on the blast beats here, but the drummer's going crazy. I think really brings the best out of the pop punk side of things and brings the best out of that sound. So really liking this, just really liking it so far. And then lyrically here, it seems like, there's somebody that you're looking up to who, you don't want them to let you down, but like you got like some dirt on them or something. I've got you like a puppet in the palm of my hand. This could be, writing from the perspective of another person. I don't know. This one's again, maybe not as straightforward in the lyrics. And again, I'm just kind of focusing on the music while focusing on the music without even thinking about it. And then, trying to really, turn my attention onto the lyrics, because I do love looking up the lyrics here on the channel if you're just finding me from this video. So just not a ton to say on the lyrics so far. And that's also like the pace of these songs. It's very fast. It's very punky in that sense. Not so thrashy on the metal side, but very punky as far as using the punk to dictate the pace of the song. Yeah, damn, just so good. Oh yeah, and let's not forget the throat clear. Where was that? Gotta love it. All right, moving on. So yeah, Larry's. We don't know what Larry's made of, I guess. Shit. I'm gonna say New Jersey Legion iced tea. What? The hell does that mean? New Jersey Legion iced tea. Oh my god. Tasty guitar tones coming out of these guys, especially there at the end, just letting it like rip and tear to the end of the song. I wasn't the craziest about this one. Maybe I'm already starting to become like accustomed to the sound. Although this one, I think was like the most straightforward. I do like this lyric here, just because I'm on some transcendentalism recently. Y'all fuck with Henry David Thoreau. Right? Walden, check it out. This is the life we choose. This is the life I lead. They can never take this away from me. As far as, just knowing who you are, and, the consequences can come your way. And it's like, well, shit, I'm still the same person. So what the fuck are you going to do now? And just looking back at my own experience, right? Like knowing a ton of people like in high school that listen to this is like exactly the kind of messaging that like punk kids, teeny weenie types, emo types would just eat the hell up. You already feel as though you're an outcast, and like, dude, this is me. This is me. This is what we're going for. This is what I'm doing. You can take that shit and put it back up your butt, just something like that. I don't know what else to say. It's still bringing the same energy that we found through the rest of the album. I'm just like not the hottest on this one. It's not bad to any degree. Seems like people, this isn't the lowest played one. Not to say that means it's a bad song. This could be your favorite song on the album just for the messaging alone. And we're on to the next one, Mr. Highway's Thinking About the End. I'm going to posit that this is a reference to the movie The Good Son. If anybody's seen it, it's a very young Elijah Wood and Macaulay Culkin off the heels of Home Alone. And it was a really weird casting for Macaulay Culkin, because here's this like shiny little American blonde child, and he's like the face of child stars of his generation, who has enjoyed more success than a lot of 90s actors, and he's like 11 years old. And in The Good Son, he is like a maniacal murderous psychopath kind of kid. And in that movie, he constructs this dummy called Mr. Highway. And they take this dummy and they throw it off an overpass, and they cause like this huge pile up on the highway. So that's what I'm thinking that this means, or that the title's a reference to. Will there be a correlation in the song? I don't know. But I saw that movie at a really young age, and I was really worried that I was going to turn into Macaulay Culkin or have to be Elijah Wood and like deal with this kid. I just Googled that movie. Dude, that movie's a fucking ride. That movie's nuts. So let's get into some Macaulay Culkin. Wake up! Song? Is this the meme song? Disrespect your surroundings. I didn't know this is the meme song. Alive, you will make it out alive. Hard left turn. Until the tables turn, will we ever? Wow. So this is really a tale of three songs, I think, here in 4 minutes and 15 seconds, because it's definitely a metalcore heavy song here on this one, and then through the chorus is on the pop punk side of things. I didn't know that this was the disrespect your surroundings meme. That's where this comes from, which I'm surprised because of how much of the pop punk we've heard on this album. Not to say that I think this song definitely calls back to a lot of the metalcore sides of things and just how heavy this all is. I would have figured that would come from a band that mainly sounds like that, that mainly where it's just that every single song, where, no, it's coming from a much more dynamic group, A Day to Remember. And I think we've already seen how dynamic they can be. And, from a couple songs that were kind of just a little bit more straightforward, maybe we're back to form as far as how diverse the composition can be, because, this, maybe you call this part a breakdown, but it's not really, but it is, because they're just reprising the chorus, but in a much softer tone as it squeaks us to the end of the song. Now, how much of this has to do with the good son in that scene with Mr. Highway, I don't know. Maybe in the sense, we're not the same, you are worthless, stay in your place. Maybe from the perspective of Macaulay Culkin's character, where he sees Elijah Wood character as kind of competition for their mother's affection. Get what we deserve. Yeah. How long until the tables? Yeah. I don't know. I think it could be a little bit more ambiguous than that, and I'm looking way too far into it. It could just be a nonsense throwaway line, but I got to imagine that it inspired the lyrics to some degree. I love this genre because the melodic music, but I also love a bit heavy bands like these mesh them so I can sing along with the catchy ass chorus and headbang to the verses and breakdowns. I can see why people are so attached to this. I mean, this song maybe not so much for me, but the parts on this album so far that I have really liked, I have fucking loved. So I get it. Mr. Highway disrespected his surroundings when he was dropped from the bridge. Yeah, I was gonna say that as well. That is definitely a way to disrespect your surroundings. It's crazy because I remember that meme was kind of big and it only has 88 million plays. I figured that would have brought people towards maybe the song itself a little bit more, but I digress. Moving on though, Have Faith in Me seems like one of the bigger songs on the album, so let's just dive in. Have Faith in Me. See, I think I need more pop punk bands with harder guitars, because just in my experience, there's quite a bit of projects, at least Chuck. I'm trying to think of the other one by Sum 41. Sum 41 did bring a lot of metal influence to their music at some point, which I just absolutely loved. Even some songs on Does This Look Infected, even on All Killer No Thriller, right? All Killer No Filler. But they definitely leaned into it a little bit more at one point. And this is very reminiscent of that, where it's definitely using the pop punk sides of things to drive the whole song to the end. But just those harder guitars that come from metal are really just there supporting it. And as far as how dynamic it sounds, those little where he's just kind of plucking at the guitar there, and it's more of a bright sounding thing. And then I guess that part sounds a little bit more standard straight pop punk, but really liking the high ends and the low ends of what's going on here. The bass hasn't really shined through that much for me. I forget which song, they kind of start the breakdown with the bass. But all the instrumentation here is been perfectly apt for me. We are moving on here. This is Welcome to the Family.
I've waited for this day to come. There's just something about you that rubs me wrong. You're not worth my attention. It haunts me. I don't believe in everything you've known about me. It's gone forever, and I won't forget the days that we spent forever. It haunts me. It won't be long before you miss your end. You're nothing more than a passing trend. Contradiction. I don't believe that everything you've known about me is gone forever, and I won't forget the things that we spent forever. Because you're meant to bury you alive. Move.
All right, just some heartbeats to play us out, and we'll play that. We'll play this out onto the next song. But I was gonna say, they're packing so much into 3 minutes on the dot, essentially, and not even that. In 2 minutes and about 40 seconds, they do a lot with what they have. Like, this feels like a much longer song than 2.5 minutes, but that's exactly what it is. I mean, it starts out so hard. And then you get like this prettier sounding chorus. And then, we get the classic breakdown and everything like that. But that's something that I've kind of found through a couple of these songs. But this song especially, like, it is very dense. Like they're giving you a lot in not a lot of time. I mean, we're already like more than halfway through this album so far. It doesn't really feel it. It feels like it's a little bit longer, and I'm not saying that because I'm not enjoying it, because I am. It's like, but in this song in particular, this is a very dense song. But we're gonna get into the titular track here of Homesick. Homesick. So definitely more on the pop punk side of things here, and I like this little window that we're getting into their lives here. And I think that this song kind of carries through the first song, and I don't think that this is like a hard-nosed concept album or anything like that, but there's this thing in pop music or in pop punk where it's like, this town, I hate this town, we're leaving this town, but it seems like they've left this town, and now you can look at this as like, is this their time on the road, as far as like, I wanted to leave so much, but God, like, I fucking like, I do miss it, for 5 years, it seems, they've kind of been out of their element. And maybe this is like one of the struggles of recording an album, and I won't sing a single thing until we can get this right. I like that lyric a lot here. I do. I think it gives us a little bit of a window into maybe their creative process a little bit. And, when you're homesick, obviously you're going to miss your family. And this song, it's not very heavy. So maybe this is the soft song he wrote for his mom. Hey, Mom, I wrote you some soft songs, and tell Dad I'm just fine. Right? That's what dads are, right? Do you get arrested? Are you in the hospital? Do you owe large amounts of money? No, you're fine. Are you fine? You're fine. Okay, good luck. You'll be fine. That's what dads are, right? A good dad's good. A good dad will teach you and not do shit for you, and that's at least that's my perspective on it. Like, are you good? You're fine. You're gonna die? No, cool. Thanks for letting me know. And it's that class. Like this part does sound just like so pretty to me, just because it is like the pop punk, very, very melodic kind of chorus. I think, this song's not very offensive, and pretty accessible, I guess. Not offensive in the sense that maybe how some of those, oh my God, what was the Bring Me the Horizon song about the dog shitting glass or something like that. Not offensive like that, but offensive like, maybe some people don't like the hard little dun dun and breakdowns and screamy shit like that, where this one's a little bit more accessible. And I like where they went with the lyrics here. I was actually able to catch the lyrics here. So this one wasn't so crazy. Kind of allowed me to catch the lyrics here a little bit and get to know them on a different level. All right, yeah, I guess this is more or less the home stretch here. Holding it down for the underground.
Everything I love is slipping away, and every time I come home, somewhere of me isn't there. I gotta get it together. Come on, you know this isn't what we planned on. Come on, tell me we'll be okay. We'll be okay. This isn't what I remember. Everyone's looking out for just themselves. I see straight through that smile, straight through that painted face. Don't think that I turn my back and you keep the walls. Come on, you know this isn't what we planned on. Come on, been through a lot of the last year. It's like everything I love is slipping away.
And just a hard cut there. I don't know if I kind of clocked it at the beginning of the album. There's a part of me that wants to say that a lot of this is diminishing returns just by, I don't know if I just needed this sound in my life, but like those first couple tracks, I was like super jazzed. I was into those a lot, but now I don't want to say that they're running through the motions because they're doing what they're doing. It's more of a me problem where I'm not maybe taking as much out sonically anymore, other than maybe I've just kind of like grown accustomed to like, okay, now I get it. Now it's not so foreign to me anymore. This isn't bad to any degree, just maybe not holding me as much as it did at the beginning of the album. Again, more of a me problem. However, I don't know if this was intentional, but as far as song placement goes, from Homesick into this is kind of like a continuation of some of those same thoughts about being homesick and like, you know, let's go back to a time where we still felt that we had a family, you know, maybe here, you know, I have the greatest faith in fools. I turned my back and out came the wolves. Is that more of a thing where, you know, you're giving the benefit of the doubt to people who don't deserve it? Because there's a lot of that in my life. I try to see the best in people, and then I just get fucked over by dickheads, and it's terrible. Hate it. But you still got to be nice. I'm too nice of a guy.
I'm just such a nice guy. I don't get it. I don't get why everybody's mean to me. I'm just such a nice guy.
So thematically, I like this quite a bit as far as it kind of opening up a little bit more theme throughout the album with coming from Homesick, and maybe if you want to use that as a continuation from the first song and maybe even the second song as well. It seems like every song in between was kind of its own thing. Although now that they're referencing family, I might have to go back and look into Welcome to the Family a little bit more to see what's all in there, I guess. I don't know. That's just where my mind is. Moving on here. You already know what you are.
They used to tell me got to choose a side. Years for years later and they beg for advice. He's not the critic, he's a cynic. Make the call for yourself. This is my 10 step, cause I'll be like everyone else. I won't be leaving this. You can't trust everyone you meet. They won't amount to anything. You tell them simple as you think. Held above me, you will never bring me to my knees. You get what you deserve.
Okay, hey, quick question, what the fuck? Why was this song so short? Minute 27 seconds, what the hell? So, to me, that just means that this is something that they just had to get off their chest. At least, like, when I see a song like this that's, like, that much shorter than every other song on the album, that's where my mind goes, where it's like, they just needed to say this. They used to tell me, you gotta choose a side, now it's 4 years later, and they beg for advice, don't trust the critic, he's a cynic. Is there a 10-step course? So is this a addiction thing 4 years later? You got to choose a side. Is this a political thing? Don't trust the critic, he's a cynic. Are they talking about, you know, is this like a Taylor Swift mean situation here? I don't know. I'm like very, very perplexed by this. Yeah, I don't know what they're really going for here. To me, this reads as political. You've got to choose a side. Now it's 4 years later. Makes me think of American election cycle. That's what I was thinking too. He's overflowing with doubt. Like, did he vote third party? Can't trust everybody you meet. They won't amount to anything. Go tell them. So maybe in a protest sense there, you know, just, you know, fight the power kind of a deal. Voting anxiety. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. This is my 10-step course to not be like everybody else. And leaving with there's like some type of political rebellion, so to speak here. Maybe not voting. I don't know. So it's, I like it in the sense, you know, if this is something that they just had to get off their chest, but they're still not giving me a ton here, but leaving it open to interpretation is something that I can appreciate. I feel like I'm really over analyzing the amount of plays on this one. I don't think I'm usually as hyper focused. So yeah, that's a quick in and out there. This is another song about the weekend.
I fell asleep
one a lot. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I don't know if it's like it was that like harder pop punk sound. Love the melodies. I loved the snare on this one. And this I could see how maybe this album would require some play or some re-listens. Because here they're saying, have some faith in me, have faith in me. Is that referring to the song, Have Faith in Me? You know, I'm starting to think about it like that. And this is kind of a continuation with that theme of being homesick, but like leaving and then becoming your own person and realizing things you've wanted weren't the things that you've needed. And changing as a person. And it's like, shit, well, maybe I just need to ground myself by going back home. So this isn't something as like, I need to go home because I miss it, but like, maybe I need to go back home, get grounded, like get some perspective on things. So thematically, this works well for me. Sonically, this worked well for me. This is one of my favorite songs on the album, I think. I really enjoyed this one. And even, again, another glimpse into their lives as artists. I'll write my songs, they'll sing along, and hope that time heals everything. You know, and that's all you hope for as an artist, that like, you know, this catharsis you have in creation gives meaning to your life. And maybe that's what they've needed. But no, this one was good. I enjoyed the energy on this one, enjoyed the instrumentation, the lyrics, the vocal delivery. This one hit. This one was good. Morning that I have a ton of Homesick in my playlist that I didn't even realize I had. This album's like really celebrated, and I think I found out why. But as we continue and end, actually, the album, we have the last song here, which is the biggest song on the album as far as the plays go. If you guys are tired of me talking about the Spotify plays, let me know and I'll stop talking about them. I'm just really hyper-focused on them for this album for some reason. This is If It Means a Lot to You. Mean a lot to me if that fucking quit turning off.
You don't feel right when I'm leaving. Yeah, I want it, but no, I don't need it. Tell me something sweet to get me by. If you can wait till I get home, then I swear come tomorrow this will all be in the past. Well, it might be for the best.
I need you here tonight, and I know that you don't wanna be leaving. Yeah, you.
Then I swear to you that we can make this last.
Oh, you can't give me what I need, and even though you mean so much to me, I can't wait through everything.
Is this really happening? I swear I'll never be happy again, and eventually. Not everybody's singing love. Not everybody's singing love. If you can wait till I get home, not everybody's singing love. Then I swear we can make this last. Not everybody's singing love.
All right. First things first. Not only were the vocals so good on this entire song, but the vocal mixing towards the end between the la la la's and the verse really filled my ears up in a way that I really liked. I was really cozy in that. It sounded beautiful. Really enjoyed it. Was not expecting the feature on here, and I had to Google it real quick. That was Sierra K came on as the female voice in that. She was a part of the band Versa, it seems, from 2007 to 2017. This is the Google results here. Yeah, check her out, I guess, because that was between who's my guy? La. Who's my guy lead vocal? Jeremy McKinnon. Jeremy McKinnon did a real good job on this one. But the whole band, whoever did the vocals, between the more pop punk side and then, the growly shit, and, Sierra K coming in on that last track. I was waiting for a softer song, a ballad, something a little bit softer, because, the songs themselves are so dynamic, but it does kind of, not that it sounds the same, but it does throughout the album. So this was a really good change of pace, and I get it, putting it at the end of the album. And that theme of home comes back, but so it's not so much home because I miss it. It's not so much home, I need to be grounded again. Now it's home. It's like, hey, we can make this work. Just wait till I can get home, trying to fix a romantic relationship there. So it's not so much a familial thing as it is like a romantic thing. It's a very emotional thing. And the things you lose not being at home. So it's kind of weird in the sense that this theme of being homesick and things that kind of entails, it's not a hard concept album, but there are those themes in the second half of the album, which is weird because it kind of starts us off at first with the downfall of us all, maybe even a little bit of My Life for Hire, but I don't think that falls in thematically there. That a lot of those themes, you could maybe even argue, starts with Welcome to the Family, but definitely a lot of the last 4 or 5 tracks or so have to deal with that theme of homesickness and what it means to not be home. This was great. This was a real treat for me. Like I said, I was exposed to this well before I ever started doing YouTube, as far as being exposed to it as a thing that exists. But I couldn't tell you anything that Day to Remember sounded like, or anything that sounded like them, other than it just being metalcore kind of pop punky, and that it was. Now, is every song on the album going to be a mainstay for me? I don't know, but there are some great tracks on this. I really enjoyed another song about the weekend. The Downfall of Us All and My Life for Hire just brought that energy that I didn't know I was missing in my life. I'm Made of Wax, Larry. What are you made out of? I think can even fall into there. And I think that if you really love this sound and you really love what they're doing, then I think the middle meat of the album is there for you. And talking about, some of these themes, going back in and maybe listening to this again and picking up on the themes of, well, what did Have Faith in Me have to do with the rest of the album? Because that's a pretty big song on the album. But I believe it was one of these songs. So it was either Holding It Down for the Underground or another song about the weekend that brought back that, at least that lyric of Have Faith in Me. Are there any other connections there? There may not be, but as somebody who's listening to something for the first time and has those types of questions, I like that. It makes my brain tickle. It gives me more of an opportunity to engage with the music more than just listening to it. It's investigating. It's having those questions. And you might look at this like, okay, well, it's just a pop punk singer, and it's just some, maybe you could look at it as pretty cheap metalcore breakdowns or anything like that. I thought it was a very bold marriage between the two. I don't know how much of that sound precedes them as far as maybe some other artists. So if there are some other artists that have tried that sound to any degree of success, let me know. But like I said, this album's notoriety spoke for itself before I ever got a chance to listen to it. And I'm very glad I did. I was expecting something a little bit more like Bring Me the Horizon, which it definitely was not. Bring Me the Horizon was has definitely more hard edges to it, I think, whereas this was a little bit more accessible in its themes, in its process, and in its delivery. And then if you kind of liked, to bang your head to the breakdowns, and that's all the better for you there. Yeah, quite good. He does both. That's crazy. The first track, like I said, the Downfall of Us All may have been one of the easiest air horns I've ever given on the channel. So that was my reaction to Homesick by A Day to Remember. Please let me know your thoughts on my thoughts down in the comments. Was there anything I missed lyric-wise? Are there any other relevant things that were happening with the band that really added to this project that I really need to know to gain more of an appreciation for it? I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you want me to react to any other bands of this era or more, A Day to Remember for that matter, please let me know as well. If you want to see any of these streams while we're live, while we're reacting to an album, make sure you go ahead and you subscribe to see those posts on my post tab and on my Patreon, and make sure you click the link down in the description to catch us live. If you miss a live and you want to see the full uncut reaction before it goes out on YouTube, make sure you catch my Patreon, where that tier starts at just $1. I went to McDonald's and a McDouble used to be $1. It's $3.99 for a McDouble. For the quarter of a price of a McDouble, you get full unedited album reactions with it come out on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen.
It's good shit.
Oh yeah, $3.99 for a McDouble, no pickle, no mustard. Pisses me off. How do I end my videos? Oh yeah. But with that said, I've been Jerry Bees. You've been awesome. Take it easy.
Diggity dog. Breaking. Diggity dog.